Hello folks, and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, we're in the bathroom, meaning it's time for another Try to Get Ready With Me. Today's Try to Get Ready With Me is gonna be not exciting makeup, plain skincare, but for once, at the start of these, I have a good reason for that, which is that I've finally started medication for the hormonal acne I have been having due to being on testosterone. So, like a couple days ago now, I started on tretinoin. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it, actually. I've only ever heard people refer to it as tret. So yes, that. For my acne, and I'm super excited. But that does mean that I need to be kind of careful with my face for the next 4 to 6 weeks. My doctor told me that there would be like a purging phase, basically. Not everyone gets it, but she was like, looking at your skin, you're probably gonna have a purging phase. So basically, like, all of the acne that was already beginning to form in my skin, like there were already areas of my skin that were gonna turn into pimples, are just gonna come up to the surface as pimples way sooner. So I'm just dealing with a ton of extra acne right now. So I can't do, like, not that I can't, like I'm sure I could do more with makeup, but I don't want to, because I want to, like, keep my skin as healthy as possible and try and let this medication hopefully work and do its thing and help me with this, like, truly awful hormonal acne I have been fighting with for the last, like, year and a half that I've been on testosterone. So everyone cross your fingers and toes for me that this, oh my goodness, girlfriend has so much to say. She wants lunch, and it's not lunchtime yet. She's just still not adjusted to daylight savings. I'm filming this in, like, November, so very early. But cross your fingers and toes for me that this works, and this... Girlfriend! So cross your fingers and toes for me that this works, and this helps, and this gets my skin in order, because I am so unbelievably tired of dealing with having this awful acne all of the time. It's driving me insane. But a few months back, I did a Try to Get Ready With Me that was like an update about like my transition and finding a surgeon for top surgery, and just kind of like my decision to move forward with that path. And I got a lot of really nice messages after that video from folks who said that it made them feel very seen. Oh, this sunscreen is always so awkward to use. Sorry. Who said that it made them feel very seen, and they like really enjoyed the video. And I had a couple folks who what really stood out to them was some comments I made in that video, and also one of my early videos, about like just the sensation of surety that people have going into like starting to transition, and this concept that like you must be 100% sure about every element of your transition before you even start it. And I do feel like there is a lot of societal pressure to be like super sure. And what of my comments stood out to folks was my comparison to like tattoos and piercings. Like, we get and consent to getting tattoos and piercings all of the time, understanding that there are risks involved, understanding that there may potentially be like negative or undesirable side effects from getting this modification work done. And for many of us, we are like 80% sure we're gonna love what we're getting done. We're 90% sure. Maybe we're 99% sure. But for a lot of us, we're never gonna be 100% sure until we have the modification done and we can see it on our own bodies and make sure we like how it looks on our body. So for some people, that last percent or few percents of surety only comes once it's done. And I've encountered a lot of folks talking about how they've been thinking about transitioning for years. They have a lot of like positive side effects and positive bodily changes they're looking for from going on T, that they think they would really enjoy or that they think they would really like. And the thing that has stopped them thus far from going on T and pursuing this is that they're not 100% sure yet. They've just been hovering at like 90% sure for the last 5 years. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that if you're not sure you want to transition or you're not sure you want a certain body modification, that you should just say fuck it and go out and get it anyway. That is like not remotely the point that I'm trying to make or like the concept that I'm trying to get across. But what I am trying to say is that like if you have been thinking about something for an incredibly long time, if you are super well informed of the risks, if you understand everything that you're signing yourself up for, and this is still something that you really want and you feel like is aligning for you and you have a very strong desire towards, and you've been thinking about this for, again, a very long length of time, I feel like you're probably fine to just go ahead and do it, you know, and see what happens. And I think we very much get caught up in this narrative that people need to be 100% sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, before they start some of these things with their transition. And like, I'm going to tell you right now, I was not 100% sure before I started transitioning. I was like 90% sure, but I was still concerned about certain side effects from starting HRT. And I didn't want to jump in with like top surgery right away. Some people prefer to do it the other way around. They prefer to get top surgery first and then start HRT. That wasn't the right path for me. So I started on low dose HRT. And like, I've been pretty transparent through my whole transition about like what my thought processes were, what my concerns were, like how I was feeling and thinking. Like, how could I have been 100%? Like, I knew from the start, I called it from the start that I was going to have horrific acne if I went on HRT. And granted, it's not as bad as it could be, and I'm grateful for that. It's still been pretty bad, and it's still definitely been very painful, and it's like exactly what I thought I was going to be dealing with. So like, how could I have been 100% sure, like, oh yeah, the like atrocious acne that I'm gonna get is gonna be totally worth all of the other side effects. Like, I was pretty damn sure that I was going to be fine with it, and that it was going to be manageable and that I was gonna love it. But you know, I'd done a ton of research. I knew that you like can't cherry pick your changes from HRT. I knew that hormones can sometimes be unpredictable. So when I started, I was not 100% sure I was going to completely love the whole process and my results, because I knew there was a really good chance I was going to get bad acne. I knew there was a chance that I wasn't going to get some of the changes I was excited about. But I had so much hope for the changes I did want and the things that I did want to see. And realistically, like, starting low-dose testosterone and taking it for a couple of months. And then what? If I don't like the changes I'm getting, I stop taking it after a couple of months. That is a less permanent body modification decision than getting a big tattoo, than some of my facial piercings. Like, I didn't need a letter of referral or a letter of recommendation from 2 different therapists and my doctor to get my hand tattooed or to get my cheeks pierced. And both of those things have affected my like regular day-to-day life significantly more than taking testosterone has. Like, I deal with more outward public discrimination for my modifications like those than I do for being trans. So like, I don't know. And I wasn't 100% about those modifications either. Like, I got my hand tattooed. I loved the design. I loved the stencil. I was like very sure I was going to love it on my hand. But there's always a non-zero chance of something like healing wrong or poorly or going wrong with a tattoo. And I knew that going into it. And like, if I still consented. There's still a part of me that was like, wow, I really hope this like heals well. It doesn't have any problems. And I don't have any like big blowouts on my hand. You know, fingers can be tricky to tattoo. That is like a real risk of it. Like, starting HRT, I was like, you know, I hope I get all the changes I want. I hope I love the results of my body. But I understand that there's a risk that I might not. And I think we as a society put this like very undue pressure on trans people to like be 100% positive before they do anything, even though like low dose hormones is such a lower commitment and I feel like lower risk process than like many tattoos or piercings that you could walk into a studio off the street and go get right now. But there's this pressure to be 100% ready and 100% okay like no matter what. And it leads to people literally sitting there for years thinking about how, God damn it, girlfriend. And it leads to people sitting there for years, literally years, thinking about hormones they want to try and things they want to do. And it leads to people being 95% sure, thinking about this, researching this, understanding intimately the risks and concerns of this for years, and still not doing it because they feel like, oh, I can't until I'm like 100%, until I don't have any questions or any doubts or any concerns about how this process is going to go or what's going to happen. And that is just not like reasonable and realistic for everyone. Like, I'm an overthinker. I have anxiety. There's no piercing or tattoo that I'm ever gonna get where I am like 100%, not a singular doubt or question in my mind. Like, I'm excited for this. Like, until I have it on my body and I see how it heals, I'm always going to have a little bit of doubt. Like, 99% is the best I'm ever gonna get. And I feel like that's okay. I feel like it's okay to be anxious or nervous or have doubts or have questions. But if you still, I don't know, if you still have the desire to do it, if it still feels very important to you, if you've done all of the research, if you've done everything else, if it's been calling to you for months and years, just do the damn thing. Try it out. You know, see if it works for you, see if it's right for you. And again, it doesn't have to be jumping right into surgery or jumping right into this. It doesn't even have to be full dose hormones. You can take low dose hormones to start. I mean, like, Christ, we let people get breast implants and Brazilian butt lifts and facelifts and like Botox and lip filler and face filler with barely any conversation about some of the risks and the realities of getting these procedures done. So many people get it done on a whim or very casually, or get it done and go, okay, like, worst case, if I don't like it, like, I'll have a revision, I'll have it dissolved, I'll do whatever. And again, I am not saying that we should be so cavalier. Like, I think a problem in general is that some of these things are too cavalier. But I do think, because of today's social and political climate, there is this very unique pressure on trans and non-binary folks to be like oversure and overcertain to the point that it's holding some people back from transitioning and from having these experiences that could be really healing for them and really important for them and really help their relationship with their body and really help them discover who they are. And I'm talking to people who have spent, again, sometimes a decade or longer thinking about and wanting to try hormones and start, but holding themselves back because that last 5% where they're still worried or still anxious or still nervous. I don't know, like, I just think, like, as someone who, you know, works as a professional body piercer, works in the body modification industry, I feel like I would caution people to be so much more careful with things like hand tattoos and face tattoos and neck tattoos and piercings like cheek piercings and obviously like risky oral piercings like smiley piercings and horizontal tongue piercings. All of those things I would feel much more concerned about someone doing and want to have much more of a conversation with the risks with someone and the societal implications with someone than I would starting low dose HRT. Like, I think there are so many piercings and tattoos that we do on a regular basis in our studios that carry so much more risk and so much more social repercussion than low dose hormones. Like, maybe I'm just crazy, but I feel like tattooing your face is so much more irreversible than being on testosterone for 3 months, or even 6 months, or estrogen for 3 months, or 6 months. And in most cities in America, in most towns in America, you could walk into a tattoo studio and find somewhere that will tattoo your face within maybe an hour or two. Maybe 3 hours if you work in an area where folks are really strict about facial tattoos. But you'll find someone who's down to clown and will tattoo your face for you very easily. And I will say, like, there is a bias present here. I'm sure I have a much more, like, casual and cavalier attitude about some stuff in relation to like body modification and transitioning because I work in the body modification industry, so I see so much of it day in and day out. Like, it is literally my daily life and experience. But I just feel like I see higher instances of regret rates and complications from some piercings and tattoos than I see from like experimenting with low dose hormones. And also, like, I come from an industry where it's really like, do whatever you want to do with your body, like, have fun, get weird with it. Like, I'm, you know, a huge believer in informed consent and people being able to do what they want to do with their bodies as long as they've been given the information and they consent to the risks. Like, it's your body, you're going to do what you want to do. And I think a lot of other folks feel this like immense pressure towards perfectionism when it comes to any which way they modify their body. They feel like every little thing they do has to be absolutely perfect. They have to be absolutely sure. And again, not to suggest that this becomes just this very like casual off the cuff thing, but I see a lot of folks taking it to an extreme in a way that holds them back and limits them from exploring their transition and exploring their gender identity and exploring their body. And I especially see it with a lot of non-binary folks who feel very, very hesitant to explore medically transitioning. And I don't know, I'm so excited and so happy that I've medically transitioned. It's truly like one of the best decisions I've ever made. It's been, like, no exaggeration, life-changing for me. I think it's one of the coolest and most incredible body modifications I've ever done. And it's also been one of the least risky and easiest to manage. And if I did decide I regretted any of my changes, I feel like this one would be like pretty easy for me to undo. You know, I've been taking low dose. I've been really carefully monitoring my body. I've been working closely with my doctors and medical team. Like, it's certainly more thought out than getting my cheeks pierced at 18 was, I will tell you that much. So I just wanted to come on here today, and if you watch my content and you've been going back and forth about transitioning, or not sure where you stand in your body, or not sure what works best for you, what's right for you, or not sure what works best for you or what's right for you, if you feel this like immense pressure to be so 100% certain before you make this decision, let this video be a reminder that, like, it's your body. Have fun with it. Get weird with it. Do whatever feels right for you. Like, make informed decisions. Of course, obviously, this whole channel exists so that I can provide people with information so they can make informed decisions. So yes, make informed decisions. But if you have the information, if you understand the risks, and it's something you're still very interested in doing, just go for it. Just do it. I promise you, there is so much out there waiting for you. There is so much happiness, there is so much affirmation, there's so much safety and capability in your body that you get to experience. And it is okay to not be 100% sure. It is okay to still have reservations and hesitations and be nervous about certain elements of this. And as long as you are going into it with care and with thoughtfulness and with information, I don't think you're going to regret the decision. And I'm just some stranger on the internet, but I think if it's something that feels right for you and feels right for your body, you should pursue that. And I'm so grateful that I have made the decision to transition, and I don't regret anything about my process at all. But I do think I held myself back a little bit because I did feel this weird pressure to be, again, 100% certain. And that's just not my reality. I'm too anxious, I'm too nervous, I'm too cautious. I'm never 100% certain until things are done and I see how they heal. And only then, with all of my modifications, have I ever gone, wow, yes, 100%, this was the right choice. But for me, that doesn't happen until after. So if you're like me, don't let that hold you back if this is something that you really want and feels right for you. Very just super simple makeup today, just stuff on my eyes because we're letting the skin and the chin purge and hopefully look better, and hopefully in the coming months I'll just have like beautiful glowing glass skin with like hardly any acne, and I would be so happy. I could cry if that happened. Thanks so much for sitting down and chatting and hanging out, and I can't wait to sit down and update y'all again soon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.